Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to talk about one of my most awaited topics, forgiveness, which I know a lot of people again have misunderstood. I did too. And there's a lot of egoistic attachment when you ask somebody to forgive someone, especially if they're operating from pain or blame or being the victim, where you feel I did not deserve certain things, and some people are evil, some people are bad, and you categorize people, good people or bad people. And in one of my previous videos, I had mentioned something beautiful. My father says, there are no good or bad people, it's just healed or unhealed. So I grew up with that understanding, but still there were few things which I found, or situations where I found it extremely difficult to not just forgive people, but even events, places, circumstances. And it can be a vicious cycle, and I think understanding forgiveness is very important when it comes to healing. Not just healing yourself, but also loving yourself, understanding your core, your essence, your human nature. Basically, my understanding of forgiveness then was, you forgive people because you don't want to carry on that pain. And a lot of people say you have to forgive not for the other person, but for yourself, because you need the closure and you need peace. So you forgive people so that you don't carry on to that pain. That was my understanding of forgiveness until in 2017 or 18, when I ventured into self-love, understanding my core belief or what makes me who I am, wanting to change my life. I did not want to operate from pain and being left out and not being appreciated, and I was operating from a very low point in my life. That's when I came across a beautiful, beautiful meditation on YouTube called the Ho'oponopono. And I think all of my friends know about this meditation because I talk about it every time. But again, the understanding of this meditation came in layers. So today in this video, I'm going to address that. So basically, Ho'oponopono is an ancient Hawaiian prayer. Very simple, 4 statements. And you repeat this for the person you think has hurt you, or you feel this person did me wrong, but I have to forgive this person. Like I said, our understanding of forgiveness, not because this person deserves it, but because I deserve it. I need my closure, so I need to forgive this person. Now the 4 statements are very simple. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and thank you. And because I was operating from that low place of my life, I said, I do not, why should I say this person thank you? For what? For hurting me? I gave my best. And why should I say, please forgive me? I did not do anything wrong. Why should I ask this person for forgiveness? Shouldn't it be the other way around? But anyway, I was so much into desperation. I was using this prayer as a tool, as if it's going to fix me and it's going to show me what self-love is. It's going to heal me magically, that I was doing it. And it was unbelievable that I had these people in front of me, and I had very bad emotions come up. Sometimes it was disgust, sometimes it was blame, and sometimes it was anger, sometimes it was guilt. But I kept going on with the meditation without understanding too much about it, until I came to a point in this meditation once where I saw myself in front of me. Whew. And this is now 2018. I did not know much about forgiveness as I do now, until I saw myself in that meditation and I repeated, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And to be honest, I felt like I was somehow responsible for what I've experienced. But I did not pay too much attention to it. I just called it a wonderful meditation, and I got along with life. Because for me, I thought, okay, I've healed, and I've healed these old stories, and I have forgiven people without understanding too much about it. Now, cut short to the past few months. I went back to this meditation, especially after I had a lot of physical setbacks. And again, I think I had kind of hit rock bottom. And when I got back to this meditation, I said, okay, no, this time I want to know more about it. So of course I knew a bit of the story attached to the meditation, but not too much. I knew the story on a very superficial level. And this is the story. So in Hawaii, there was, or there is apparently, I think, mental hospital for criminally charged or criminally convicted mentally ill patients. And in this situation, these patients were so violent and so aggressive that they were mostly sedated, or they were, put in shackles. And not too many therapists or nurses could stay for a long period of time working in this mental hospital because it was too much of this negative, it's like a dark place. Until there is a doctor, Hugh Len, who was approached and to be a therapist. So he was a therapist and he was working with mentally ill patients. And he was approached to be the therapist in this mental hospital. And he said, well, he had the background of the ancient Hawaiian rituals, and he knew about this meditation or this technique or this prayer, let's say. And he said, well, I'm gonna not have one-on-one consultation with the convicted patients, but I need the files. I need all the files, and I'm gonna do it my way. Because, of course, these patients had gone through therapy. Nothing was working. So what he did was he took every file of every patient, he sat down, and with every situation, whenever he went through each and every file, he said, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And then cut short towards the end of what I would call this story was initially, he did that, and then later on, he saw improvement in these patients, or everyone noticed it. Months went by, eventually they were released because they were healing, and eventually they were fine, they were mentally stable, and they were, kind, and they were basically operating from a very human, not mentally ill point. So that was my understanding of the story back in 2017-18. Now, I went back and did my research. I said, okay, and the meditation works for me, but I think I'm missing out something. I'm missing out something very important. That's when I realized, or I did my research. So how Dr. Hugh Len explains this is, he said every time I took a file of a person, of a patient, I would read the history. There were different emotions that came up in me. Emotions like anger, disgust, maybe, felt repulsive, maybe. And he said, then I took the full responsibility. I took the full responsibility that you have showed up in my reality. You are triggering these emotions in me. I take responsibility of these emotions that I feel. That is why I have somehow created you in my reality. This is where a lot of people are going to get triggered, right? But hold on. He says, I take full responsibility, and then I say, because I feel these emotions which exist in me, I have created you as a monster in my reality. For that, I'm sorry. Please forgive me, because I made you act like that in my reality because of these emotions that exist within me. I love you. You have great potential, great capacity. You're like everyone else. I love you. And thank you. Thank you, because you also gave me the opportunity to heal these emotions that exist in me. So what he says is, my job is to just clean My job here on this planet is to just clean, and I am going to do that. And that's why he did that with every patient. He looked at every file, saw the negative emotions that came up in him, took 100% accountability of his emotions, which created his reality, and then instead of being mad at that person, you actually want to apologize. And it comes down to the point again that we're creating our own reality. And a lot of people are then going to say, but bad things happened to me as a child. I did not create that. But then we get into epigenetics. Epigenetics is talking about how and what you've inherited through generations. And if we are in a place where we're conscious enough, you take accountability. Personal accountability is the strongest suit that's missing in our time, because the more and more we get into our new day and age, we are doing the blame game and we don't take personal accountability. So I think this is why, for me, I had such an epiphany when I thought of the time when I was doing the meditation, before understanding all of this about reality and how emotions work and how people are just going to be a reflection of your inner state. I was not so deep into it. And it was still so surprising that in 2017-18, when I was doing this meditation, when I was trying to have these different people in front of me in my meditation and I was saying this prayer to them, eventually I saw myself. But I did not go too deep into it. So this is something which we have to remember or understand, and this is where self-love and forgiveness, I think, two sides of the same coin. Personal accountability, you take responsibility and you can say, hey, maybe I did not choose this consciously, but it's on my table and I'm going to fix it. It has showed up in my reality. It's my responsibility. I'm going to fix it. How many times are we hearing about bad events happening in the world? We have these emotions come up and we are there judging this person and that person and, countries and whatnot. How many times have we even sat down and thought of the world being a peaceful place? How many times have we sat down and said, okay, this is making me feel repulsed. This is making me feel unsafe. Why am I feeling unsafe? What is the world trying to show me? We don't do that. We do not do that, because my goal is just to be happy and, I have my little bubble, which is okay. If you're too sensitive, you do it for a certain while, but that's the entire process, eventually being a human and using this supreme power that's within you, the human consciousness, which I think is something so divine and so pure. And I cannot tell you of one person who is deprived of it. I cannot tell you of one person who's given less or given more. And then this is where forgiveness also becomes very difficult if you do not understand how much you are responsible for what you attract in your life, what you experience in your life. And then people will be like, yeah, but I did not pray. I did not pray for war. I did not pray for casualties. I did not pray for people to be evil. But at some point you learned it. So that's your programming. If you did not know what is evil, you would never notice it. If you did not know what's the difference between good or bad, right or wrong, you would not notice it. So you are programmed, and that is, I think, wonderful word, programming. What is programming? It's your autopilot. It's just the way you function. And the more you get into self-love, the more you understand these different layers, the more conscious you are, the more aware you are, and the more you're in charge of your life. You're breaking out from the programming. You're not following the narrative. You're not following your patterns. You're not following the same route that you've taken for 20, 30, 40, 50 years of your life. You make a conscious choice that from now on, I take full in charge of my life. I take full responsibility. And I'm going to work on it. Once you learn the art of forgiveness, you will realize how much you are responsible, of course. but also how much you need to forgive yourself. Once you've done it, all of a sudden there's just this stillness and there's just so much love around you. And through all of this, what I could learn, or what I can really truly say from my heart, is the people that very few handful people that I thought I would never see again, I would never speak to them again because they wronged me. I can sit at the same table and eat with them. I see nothing but kindness in them. And it also, again, reminds you of how powerful you are and how much capacity you have to heal not just yourself, but the world. And like Dr. Hugh Len did, what he did, he was healing himself. He was healing himself. Every time these negative thoughts or negative emotions came up when he was reading these files, he was healing himself by forgiving that other person. And by healing himself, he was healing the patient. There are few mystics or teachers, let's say, who do talk about big major world events. And there are many experiments that people have done when a lot of people come together and have a good intention. There's so much we can do. There's so much we can do. We have all the potential, but what we choose to do is sit and complain and blame the world because we know so much better and we know what's right and we know what's wrong, and we are always ready to judge the other person. You can be proud of where you come from and your stories that you hold. It has a significant importance, but I won't treat you any differently because of it. I respect it, but you'll be the same for me. Like everybody else, and I might admire your story, but that's your story. For me, everyone is, whoever I encounter is a human being, and every human being has the full potential and the full opportunities and is equally blessed as I am, or anybody else that I know. So we are capable of change. We are capable of changing ourselves first. You change yourself and you change the world. Simple as that. I remember I was, I think, in the 5th grade, and we had the summer break from school, and one of my English teachers had said, well, if you want to improve your English, you read newspaper every day. Summer break, read your newspaper. And my father always, he had he had his ritual in the morning. He would go get the Times of India, and for me, I took so much pride in that newspaper because I loved the font and I loved the name. And I started reading the Times of India, the newspaper, the daily newspaper. I did it for a week and then I stopped. And my father noticed it, and he was having his breakfast, and he said, well, you've not touched the newspaper today. And I said, no, I don't want to read the newspaper anymore. And he said, why? And I said, well, there's just so many bad things happening in the world, and I can't do anything about it. It feels unsafe, it feels crazy, it feels such a bad place to be in. And he said, well, if when you would grow up, if you would have the capacity, you would have the power, what would you do? And I said, well, I would love to heal the world, and I would like to, punish the bad people, and I'd make the place a better place to live, the world a better place to live. And I paused and I said, oh, but the world is huge. It came to my small little brain, and I said, oh, but the world is huge. And he said, and? So? And I said, well, I think I would not have the capacity to do it. I won't have the capacity to do anything all by myself. So maybe we just let it go, let it be. And he said, no, you can save the world if you save yourself. And I will never forget that, because my understanding from that conversation was the world can take care of itself. you save yourself first. It's like in the airline. So when you're flying, they say, yeah, you put on your oxygen mask first and then you help others. That was what I took from that conversation. But now, understanding forgiveness, understanding self-love, personal responsibility, I think I understand what he meant. You save the world if you save yourself. You heal yourself, you're gonna encounter a healed world. So I hope I was able to deliver the message that I wanted to deliver, and it's well understood, and I'm sure we might have some discussions over this, but I'd be more than happy to answer your doubts. I offer one-on-one coaching. Please check the description box below and you can check my packages. And I will see you all soon with a new video. I'm sending you lots of love. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you all soon. Bye.